There's a specific type of frustration you feel when you've spent hours recording the perfect vocal take, the energy is right, the tone is great, and the pitch is great, but then you go to mix it and it just doesn't sit right. Sometimes it feels like there's a wall between how your song sounds and how a professional song sounds, and for a long time I've just been really tempted to buy a $10,000 vintage microphone and hope that that will solve all of my problems. But if you're watching this, you're probably a musician and you'll know that buying more gear does not actually make you better at making songs. So we've been producing and recording a debut EP for an artist we've been working with named Malia Lisa. And we've been working on this EP for around 8 months now. When we listened back to the earlier tracks versus the new tracks we recorded with our treated room and the new microphone, there was a massive difference. So we really had no choice but to go back and re-record that first song. So if you're an artist or producer recording vocals at home, I want to prove to you exactly why you should treat your space before you buy a new microphone. Okay, so let's jump into the session. I want to show you exactly how the song sounded using the old microphone and the untreated room. So just listening to that by itself, there's nothing really inherently wrong with how it sounds. It still sounds clean and it still sounds pretty high quality, and like the performance is great and everything. We really didn't know what we didn't know when we were recording this song. But I want to show you the comparison of the raw vocals just by themselves so you can get a sense for how different these setups sound. These vocals just have a little bit of editing, just de-breathing and tuning, but that's it.
I've never known profound love till I made the call to just drop everything, erase the noise and stop.
And here's the treated room with the new microphone.
I've never known profound love till I made the call to just drop everything, erase the noise and stop.
Also, I want to mention that this is not a direct microphone comparison because we are using this $1,200 microphone versus like a $300 Rode microphone. I know that it's not an equal comparison. Mainly, I'm just pointing out the difference that treatment makes because you can really hear the difference in echo. So you can tell that there's just a massive difference. Like this Rode really has a lot of boxy frequencies.
I've never known profound love.
To me, this microphone is just boosting the hell out of 600 hertz.
Everything, erase the noise and stop.
It's just quite boomy and
I've never known profound.
Just kind of sounds very thin at the top end. It just doesn't sound like crisp or clear at all. And I don't want to just completely shit on the Rode NT1. I'm sure if you had like a perfectly treated room, this mic would sound good. But at least in a non-treated room, it just doesn't sound good. I also want to show you how the chorus sounds because you can hear Melissa is a bit louder, so there's a bit more echo that you can hear through the room. So this is what that sounds like. Listen out for the echo.
You've got all the love you lost when you stop.
So it's quite subtle, but it's nearly like a slapback delay. Like you can just hear it bouncing off the walls and coming back.
You've got all the love you lost when you stop.
So much cleaner take on that one. There's pretty much no echo and it sounds way cleaner. I'm going to play the whole mix now with the new lead vocal, and I'll also A/B test them for you so you can hear the difference in real time. But just keep in mind, these are now processed vocals. So to my ears, that just sounds much cleaner and much clearer and just more professional. I also want to show you the difference in how different the vocal chain looks because the NT1 with the no treated room, there's way more processing on it, way more EQing out these just harsh and like muddy frequencies. First EQ I'm doing just like massive cuts. Like, I don't know why it needs this much cut, but like the room is really just reflecting so much of the harsh frequencies. Even more cuts. Like, this is just a ridiculous amount of cutting. Like, you should not need to be cutting this many frequencies. So then if I compare that to the new lead vocal, you can see the cuts I'm making are far less dramatic, just like little tonal shifts. I'm using a bit of multi-band compression, just more as like broad EQ sweeps. A little bit of EQ here, not much. Quite a massive difference between the two vocals, and obviously the microphone makes a difference, but you can really hear that there's far less echo, and you really don't have to cut as many of these like muddy and harsh frequencies out because there's just less reflecting off the walls basically. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you what I think you should actually focus on before you buy a new microphone. And I think you should buy a new microphone. I think if you have a budget one, like, they are only going to sound so good, but there's definitely things you should focus on before upgrading. So the most important thing for you to be able to record a good song is to be able to actually write a good song. So there's a certain level of time and effort you have to put into practicing your craft, to writing good melodies and writing good lyrics, so that the end process of the production actually equals the quality of the song. Does that even make sense? Basically just write good songs, whatever. So the second thing that you should be focusing on before buying a new microphone is the performance itself. Again, it's a lot about practice and making sure your tone, your energy, your pitch, and your timing, all of these things combine together to create a good song as well. The producer probably can fix your timing and your pitch mistakes to an extent, but it's just going to end up sounding quite artificial and just cheap overall. As the common saying goes in the recording industry, can't polish a turd. If your recording's crap to begin with, then the final product is most likely going to be crap as well. There are exceptions to this, obviously, if that's the vibe of the music you make and you want that kind of low quality or super tuned or like weird warped timing of your vocals, then go for that. But this is if you're looking for that clean, like professional, mainstream sound. Okay, so the third thing you should focus on is treating your room. I think this is the next most important thing because, as I've said, buying more gear isn't gonna automatically make the reflections of the room disappear. You don't need to go crazy and buy these super expensive sound panels. If you can, I would actually suggest that you build them yourself, or if you know someone that's handy, just get them to build it. You could probably make these for like 20 to 30% of the retail price if you really wanted to. But honestly, just getting a bunch of moving blankets and putting them across some mattresses, just anything really to dampen the reflections of the room is going to be good. But one thing I will say is those stupid little black foam squares basically don't do anything. So I would just suggest don't waste your money on those. But these sound panels you see behind me, it cost me around $400 to make them and probably like 3 to 4 days of labor. But I would say that I kind of did it the fancy way because I wanted them to look nice and I wanted the wood framings to be stained and just kind of look aesthetic. But honestly, you could probably just get the insulation and cover it in fabric and it would do the same thing. Okay, so this brings me to the fourth thing you should do to improve the quality of your recordings, and that is buying a new microphone. So I know a lot of people start out with like the Rode NT1 or some Audio Technica or the Lewitt LCT 120 or whatever it is, but there is merit to buying a new microphone, but I think you should focus on all those other things before you'd get to the microphone. So hopefully this video was helpful for you, and let me know if you can hear the difference between the untreated room and the treated room, and if you think that was worth the upgrade for us.